These are very spirited discussions, Q&A usually from me, where you can ask me any question you want, from health and wellness to my crazy lifestyle, or anything in between, sugar addiction, sugar detox, good stuff, a lot of fun usually we have. One caveat is that the folks that are live, people are a little shy. They wait till the end, and then we have a big rush or flood at the end. So if you want, why don't we line up a few folks, raise your hand if you have a question, tell us what's going on. What's happened is we've, looks like the same crowd. We're going to have hopefully a little flood. We just had the Sugar-Free Kids Summit. We'll be running another challenge, another few folks coming in. And then the meetings get a little bit bigger again. So it's kind of a cow going through a snake thing. After it digests, it keeps going up. So anyway, who has a question? This is a recorded call that goes on the Detox to Lifestyle classroom back office for the people who have joined that group. And kind of useful that we don't have to re-examine every question. A lot of good ones for the folks that are just joining us. A lot of good Q&As already, probably 10 or 15. I don't know how many. I can't imagine people will be binge watching these someday, and there'll be 20 or 30 or 50 or 100. So. Never had anybody come in that quote unquote had Candida or yeast that if they stuck to an abstinence, it didn't disappear. There's a lot of things people call sugar addiction withdrawals or sugar detox. They call it the keto flu. They call it Candida die-off or yeast die-off. But when you read the symptoms are identical. The symptoms are sugar addiction. They're the same things we describe in the challenge. They're the same things we describe everywhere. And I don't want to be this fanatic, but we've had, and you can just ask the questions in the group. I'm sure you'll get a few answers, that people that quote unquote came in with yeast, got off sugar, and the yeast disappeared. So I know, and the docs say that, or whatever, the people that diagnose yeast or Candida or whatever, say that it feeds on sugar. I'm sure it's true. I'm sure yeast is a real thing, but I believe it's some sort of byproduct of sugar addiction or sugar and flour stuff. It's the same kind of powder addiction that we've always dealt with. It's the body just doesn't like these invaders or whatever. So anyway, that's my belief. And I don't know that, and I'm like you, I haven't researched the yeast thing that much because with no sugar, people that I've always been around never really had yeast, or that if they had yeast, it went away. So that's kind of what I think. I appreciate that. I got a lot of feedback at the KetoCon when I just said enough. I stopped calling this the keto flu. That's not what it is. And the keto flu is like empty calories. It belies this thing that kind of comes and goes. It's not you're not giving it a definition of what caused it and why it's there. And while I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on the internet, it's like this pattern recognition of just seeing yeast go away so much seems to be enough for me and the folks that we're working with. So tell your friend, man, tell her, join in. We'll talk with her. It is hard, believe me. I think that I will mature into that, and talk radio and Fox News and even CNN. Like when you create controversy, you get more views, and I'm just like the vegetarian and keto carnivore thing. It's been a long time for me to like hold my tongue. And, my friend Bitten will not work with a vegetarian, and because they believe the diet stuff. And I think genuinely I may have to name the diet soon. I may have to come off of that and say that, vegetarianism might not be the best answer, or it might be a good short-term answer. In looking at all the recovering vegans, I think the same thing, and those folks, I think that you described with the maple syrup and all that kind of stuff, I think they're new in this, and I think they've gotten the kids off the quote unquote processed food, and that's great. My kids, I didn't know back then, and I like to say that they were sugar-free, and they were. They never had any processed sugar. They never had any flour. But the snacks that we got them at the health food store had barley malt in it. They had different things in it. And so, I can't say that, quote unquote, they were sugar-free, but they had some of those. I wasn't that educated 30 years ago to understand that some of those fake sugars and some of those holistic health food sugars weren't really just sugar. And so, yeah, anyway, so thanks though. Thanks. It's been a great event, and a lot of folks been talking about it. So I'm a subscriber to Trends magazines, like $300 a year or some crazy number. But today's thing was about the ascension of waters and sober bars and mineral water spas and all this kind of stuff. They're always trying to find the next trend. So I just know it. And I saw a post the other day where a water sommelier started to take the health on, started to talk about what I talk about, the minerals and stuff. So I think it's slowly happening. But anyway, if you don't ask questions, I'm going to go over there and get all my new waters, and I'm going to talk about water. So what's going on with the sugar in your life? I hope it translates to a trendsetter in the addiction recovery stuff. That's the goal. Coke has got a brand called Aquapana. I got a bunch over there. And they're in all the grocery stores, and they're really cheap. Like there was a sale the other day for $1.29, like 750 milliliter bottle glass from Italy, $1.20. I mean, you can't get a soda for that, you know what I mean? In glass. So they've moved it forward a little bit, and there's a few others. Guy Martin Reese, who's the water sommelier's most famous locally, he's got an Instagram account. It's got like 46,000 followers, which got me jealous as hell. But he's German, and he goes to Germany a lot. I think his family had some money, and he travels a lot. And anyway, he's in Germany, and he goes to a German grocery store in the video, this Instagram post, and shows the water sections in Europe. And in Europe, like the one section is all glass. And then he shows like for it looks like for one bottle for like $1.79 for €1, but it's like for 6. And it's just and in Europe, the glass recycling is near 100%. It's 97% or 98% they recycle the glass. So there's no like waste like you're talking for the plastic bottles. So that's crap. That's like manufactured, made up stuff. I'm going to grab the stuff in just a second here, but the place that you want to go it's not, if you're in a major metropolitan area in South Florida or in Los Angeles, and I think they're servicing somewhere else, is Maestro. Is it Maestro water? Aqua Maestro. Aqua Maestro. You can look at their distilled waters. And then there's a great young lady. Her name is, I forget her name, but she has Salacious Drinks. Salacious Drinks will deliver these waters to you, but like anything in the world, the shipping ends up more expensive. The beauty of Aqua Maestro is they have delivery service for pretty cheap. You can join a club for $50 a month or a year, and you get free delivery or $5 delivery or something. And so they deliver right to your house. And that's only in Los Angeles and South Florida, Fort Lauderdale and Miami. But and they will deliver too, but Salacious Drinks will mail it to you. And that is, it's cool as like a holiday thing or something that where, Aquapana is a Coca-Cola brand you can get in almost every grocery store in the United States, okay, in glass. It's a good little water, okay? And this is the one's $1.29. This you can get in most major health food stores. They're doing well too. It's Aqua Capacha. It's got a really good mineral combination, okay? Aqua Capacha, all right? Those two you can get in almost any store. Now these you can't get in any store except really high-end boutique health food stores. This is Hilden. This is from Great Britain, and it's like one of this, like the Royal Water or something. This is like Perrier or Evian here. It's a really big water over there, right? Okay. They were all out of Evian. I would have got Evian. I like Evian, but I wish they would send their they have glass. This is Taw. This is also the UK. It's a good mineral water, just Taw. This is Element, the one that I just showed you, which is really heavy. This is Norway, Element. Again, these are you're only gonna be able to get these from, this bottle is amazing. So this is Velamo. This is Italian, I think. I don't know where this is from, but this bottle is amazing. It's heavy as hell. And it's also got a good mineral. The last few that I've showed you, Element and that one and Velamo and this one, Ear, this is brand new. I never had this before, so that was fun. It's called IRA, ERA, or EIRA. And again, really good mineral. These last two, there's a difference between spring and mineral. Spring cuts off, I think, at 250. 250, what do they call it? Parts per million. No, it's total dissolved solids. And then above 250 or 3 is a mineral water, okay? And then, some of them go to 1,000 parts per million or total dissolved solid. So anyway, those two places you can, just order 2 or 3 bottles. It'll cost you $20 or $30, but it's kind of fun. Anyway, hope that helps. No, it's a good question, and the thing that a lot of people leave out, and we have left out a little bit, is that the sugar affects the cannabinoid receptors in your body and your brain, and that part is, basically marijuana. The cannabinoid receptors are somehow, and I haven't read a lot of research on exactly how. I'm kind of focused on the dopamine and the other brain reward chemicals, but. Yeah, no, I think it's there's a book out there that's really good. He's a vegetarian guy, but I do believe him. And a lot of people, there's casomorphines in cheese. It's been reduced so far. I think that this is what's happening to me in this journey towards carnivore, is like right now, like when I feel sad or depressed or I'm having a tough week or something, I have gone to macadamia nuts or pistachios, right? So those are the last things. I don't need any fruit, no fruit juices, no greens, like the stuff. But I am affected now by macadamia nuts or pistachio nuts, both emotionally, mentally. I'm a little blue the next day. And my digestion is just whacked when I have this stuff, on these products, okay? And the thing that I think is coming, and I want to start a group eventually, the no fructose group here in our community, because I just have to know someone besides myself. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to go to carnivores for a time, who have no fructose. This is what I call zero fructose diet, right? Because that, there's a little bit of financial, well, it's financial too, but it's mostly a shakeup of our executive team and our team in general. The summit's been a lot, and we got other stuff going on. It's just a lot of business stuff going on, right? And that stuff usually stresses me to no end. But when I'm super clean on the diet stuff, I can't worry, and I can't go backwards. They call it carnivore zen or something, but my brain is not able to leave the present. And I come from a long line of worriers. I've been a worrier myself, but like, you don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking and worried. And it's really, at this point, physically for me, I always hate to say this. I don't know. I guess I'm on a vein or something, but I'm going to be 67 years old in July. Okay. And I go to the gym and I work out with guys that are 30, and they can't keep up with me. You know what I mean? Jack LaLanne's my hero. And so physically, I kind of got that part wrapped or knocked, right? And over, 30 years of working on it. But when it came to the mental stuff, the recovery stuff, the depression or mood fluctuations, that never really, I mean, it got better over the years. I did a lot of trauma work in my early days. And, there was that dark night of the soul period when I was like, when I got divorced and got off sugar for the first time, and flour, or no, I was already off sugar and I got off flour for the first time. It was like literally a 6-month kind of depression, and like, I call it dark night of the soul. I think I always say this, above the birth of my children, that was the most important event of my life, because I couldn't have been the father that I was if I hadn't gone through that process. So what I'm getting at here for the answer to your question is, at this juncture for me, it's a mental and emotional maturity or recovery, or the effects of these drugs on me. And the most important thing I want to say is that I believe we're just like dogs or cats, or I want to use dogs as a main example, because I believe our sensitivity level is so freaking high as humans that we have obliterated it, dulled it, blunted it over decades of use of this stuff. And, when you see like, Native Americans, when they're tracking stuff and they smell the air, and it's like, we are that sensitive to our environment, to being in the woods and being able to sense stuff and into stuff and hear stuff. And I think that we don't know a body, a humanity that is so sensitive to the external and stuff, and then the ingested stuff. And so the only way to do it is to be the guinea pig, for me anyway, and to get with people who have that. I've tried it with vegetarian and veganism, and it worked a lot, because I believe I got off all the processed stuff, because I was, kind of raw foodish. So I didn't have the processed stuff, but then I kept on the grains. And then when I got off the grains, another level of sensitivity and another level of physical healing, no bleeding gums, no acne. Here I am 25 years sober, no flour, no sugar. and I got acne and bleeding gums and, and basal cell carcinomas, and I was eating seed oils, which I've come to know is the worst. So I'm going on a little bit about your question, but I believe that the ability to go back to what 10 million years of evolution brought us to, minus the eyelash, or if you look at the 10 million years of human evolution as a 24-hour day, this last bit has only been about a minute and a half. Okay, so like the whole day is like a minute and a half, or a minute, you know what I mean? And in that minute, that 10 million years of evolution has been inundated with these substances and these environmental pollutants that has like changed how we perceive the world, both emotionally and mentally and physically, for sure. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just, yes, yes, and yes to your question. All of that stuff is affecting, and I get everybody's a little bit different. But again, in my research, now knowing deep in my heart that this is a substance use disorder for, 98, 99% of the people that ever come to us, now for me as the guinea pig, out there in front, I got to go to this next level of high performance and see what happens. Even if I'm wrong, the experiment's not going to kill me. It's obviously for Sean Baker and these other people, the experiment's not to kill me, but what I'm loving is this mental peace, you know what I mean? In the midst of chaos, I have this mental peace. I work harder today. I was very nicely retired. I work harder today than I ever worked, and I don't feel like I'm working. So it's like a self-actualization as well, which I think, as our tweakers and my good friend Mary there, everybody on this line doesn't get to this detox to lifestyle part of the program unless they want to be the best person that they can be. And personally, the background I have and the work that I'm doing, something about ingesting substances eschews that, throws it off. Okay. And I just don't want, I want to see how far I can push this in a Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of way, a self-actualization way. I don't know. I don't know if I answered the question, but I had fun talking about it. Warning, Will Robinson, danger, 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 Will Robinson. Okay, look, I want to warn you, like, there will be, and this is where I think we shine, our coaches and our mentors and everybody and our peer leaders. You may go into a deeper depression. You may have been so expert over the years in your own biological identity, individuality, that you knew how to stop those feelings of the death of your son. And now when you remove that stuff, it may feel like you're going into a deeper depression. Like, let me describe what happened to me. I got divorced, and I had, like, the kids were 3, and I was off caffeine and sugar, but my wife was such a great freaking cook that I was having a tough time getting off of flour, right? Or the kids, yeah, I think something like that. So I moved into this new house. I threw the television against the fireplace and broke it. So I took that drug away, and I had quit the flour completely at that point. Okay. And I sunk into this dark night of the soul that if I hadn't arranged this group around me from my alcohol and drug recovery, I'm not sure I would have made it. And it ebbed and flowed. It was like I wanted to cry. I just really, like, I could feel the pressure. I was 30 something. I was almost 30. and I hadn't cried since I was 13 or 14. And I could feel the pressure behind my eyes, and I had a therapy group, I had a therapist, I had a men's group, I had my 12-step groups, and I couldn't cry. I couldn't make the tears come. But when they came with a vengeance, and there would be like this whole body experience of crying and crying and crying, and gasping for air and snotting and shit. And it was just crazy, you know what I mean? And that would ebb and flow with, like, I made more money in the 18 months or 12 months that it lasted, really in earnest, about 6 months, and it would go, up and down. But I made more money in 12 months than I made in my entire working life to that point, in a short period of time. So there was some genuineness to me when I was in the workplace, but it was like I would go home and go through the process again. I would call my friends, I would go to my meetings, I would, go to my therapy, and it just worked its way out of my body. I do believe this, okay? So I want to warn you that may be part of your next steps, okay? It really may happen that way. So please don't, and this is where people turn back of sugar. It's not they're turning back of sugar because they can't lose weight or this. They turn back because they don't understand what's actually happening to them. The emotions come, and then all of a sudden they can't handle them. You know what I mean? And I actually think I went to another level. And I literally told the woman in the last relationship I had, when we first met, I said, there's another level for me. There's another, like, I need more to dig more of it out. Like, I popped a pimple and only got a little bit of it out, and it started to come back again. You know what I mean? And then, when we broke up, I went through another little phase. It wasn't big or anything, but it was there. So one of my triggers is relationship stuff, you know what I mean? Because I saw this screwed up relationship with my parents, I think. But anyway, what I'm getting at here is be careful, okay? Please be careful, and don't turn back when it gets hard. Come to a meeting, tell us what's going on, tell us the grief that's coming up, tell us how you're feeling, right? So anyway, but thanks for bringing it up. It means a lot, and it's very courageous.